Okay, this is Jurapa and Sierra. I'm going to make a U-turn and I'm going to head back. This is Sierra Crossroads Shopping Center. I'm going to head back towards the, I don't know what number that is. The numbers are not shown. 11 12 60, 11 1 1 2 1 6. I'm going to head back towards 4.78 acres for sale. You know what opportunity this would be for the Muslims to create a newer community? You know, the punishment that we're going to get because the money exists. The punishment that the Muslims, 11 something 11650, I think. The punishment that we're going to get, man, big, collectively as a community because they have the money, especially the individuals that have. Palestinians, Syrians, they have the money and they didn't think about that out. Yeah, as far as the point of dawah, which is the popularization of the religion of Islam through good behavior and through a promulgation of proper Muslim businesses and success and predominance in the community. They didn't do it. They didn't try to foster that. Haki, bad Yom Kiyama. Bad Yom Kiyama. Bad. Social Security office is over there. So I'm heading now towards which is the avenue, Slover. I'm going to make a left on it. And what I'm going to do is head to the Penske and the Penske dealership. Here, because what it is, I specifically wanted a Volvo. The reason why I support Saab and Volvo as manufacturers is because, see, 7KMM 183, weird looking man, weird looking Asian fat pig, in the passenger seat. And some weird looking man of a different ancestry doesn't quite look Asian in that. And the reason why I support Saab and Volvo is because these two countries, Sweden in general, that's one country, but Scandinavia were vehemently against esclava. They were against slavery during the height of slavery. During the beginning, the height and the wane, the decline, they were always against Afro-Ethnic slave trade. And slavery in general of any people. They were always against it. They used to protest it back then. In the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, the Scandinavians used to protest it. So anything Scandinavia builds, makes, produces, I support. And I specifically requested a Volvo of Noah Limbaugh. Back in April is the beginning. But then to get the other incidental monies together to be qualifiable, to be able to drive the unit out of the lease, in down payment money and all that, I didn't have any of that. I had no support from the Muslim community because I have been blacklisted. I am blacklisted as far as transportation work. Any work that would lend me to gainful employment, to be able to make an inroads towards clearing my name as to what happened to me in Singapore and the abuse of my former fiance, and her family, and other stuff. All of that, the authorities that are breaking, raping the Constitution, left and right. And this thing about Miss Donegal or Dolezal in Oregon, the NAACP, it's a bunch of crock. It's a bunch of bullshit, particularly from the Afro-American community. Because when it comes to these issues, as I'm driving along here in Fontana to support it, and the NAACP coming out, nobody comes out. The issue would be with her if she was actually doing that to subvert, as a subterfuge, to subvert the efforts of the National Association of, which is a little bit backward, colored people. Very backwards, and you would think they would have changed their title to subvert the efforts and the main credo and the goals of it towards upliftment of Afro-American rights and standing in a society. If she's there to subvert it, because there's a lot of what they call high yellow Creole people that look just like her, that are in high ranking positions in the Afro-American community, because the Anglo-Celtic ancestry and Semitic, yes, that's what I said it, brother. Yeah, Semitic ancestry peoples, they have a not lesser degree Semitic, to a lesser degree, but it's still there. They have such a disdain for those with my type of Afro-ethnic features that are not mixed. They don't want to deal with us. They always wanted to deal with a hybrid sort of a Creolic ancestry people, European people who look like themselves. They didn't want to deal with people that were pure Afro-ethnicity, for a long time. So they put that hierarchy in place. So there's a lot of them that look just like her, but yet they want to harp on her issue. If she really wants to serve the community, let her stay in that position. Talk about her being mixed and she's not really black. Leave the woman alone. If she wants to serve our community, leave her there. Yeah, leave her alone and let her do her job. Yeah. And stop messing with her about, the being black and all that, because we don't do the job. That's supposed to be done. It's a sign, and a portent, that we're not doing what we're supposed to do, and we're letting each other go to the wolves and the dogs. And there's money in the black community. There's money for Magic Johnson and the athletes, among others. Yeah, there's money. Entertainers, there's money. Aki, yeah, it's the Cosby with all his raping and all that he's alleged to have done, because I'm a Cancerian. I understand that it's highly likely. See, and where that comes from, Mr. Cosby's raping, is the black male was so hindered sexually post-slavery and post-Reconstructionist Abraham Lincoln period was so. There was a time where he was able to ascend, and he was getting a nookie when he was able to travel and get away from the slave structure, and he would travel abroad and other places. He would get the poontang, the punani. He would get it because it was such a rarity for an Afro male to be able to get the punani, the toto as they call it out here. This is mostly Latino community. It was such a rarity. It was so hard. He wasn't allowed to have toto and punani unless it was used only for breeding stock on the plantations. But generally, the Anglo male, particularly English ancestry, hated to see the Afro man get the punani. The toto, the culo, the nalgas. He hated it. He hated the thought of it. It really outraged the Anglo man to see the Afro man express his prowess. So there became a sort of latent hunger for the Afro man to just feel women, squeeze on women, do all kinds of rancid, kinky, profligate, wild things with women, because he wasn't able to express himself with women normally the way he was in Africa. Now, there's even a staunch resentment for the Afro-Ethnic woman in America to mate and marry and to have mates in black men. They don't even want them anymore. They're hard on them. They're brutal on the men. They got to have the car, enterprise. I'm giving you coded secrets for you black men out there. In the car, yeah, place to live, which means what? Gainful employment. Have the car and then line up the employment, which is what I'm trying to do with the truck. Gainful employment, then place to live. Reside so that she can lay down with you and be comfortable. And even if she wants to walk around with nothing on, she can do that, having a private abode. But if the income is kept from you, you can't do that. And this is what's going on. This is a government-sanctioned operation. A U.S. government-sanctioned operation at the behest of Singapore. Like that trade deal, the TPP, that's being pushed by Singapore. Because the most vehement critic of President Obama or tongue lashing came from Shangunungaram, of Singapore, the finance minister, and from Lee Hsien Loong, who directs Mr. Shungunungaram. Nothing comes out of the finance minister's mouth if it doesn't come from the PM's office. And from the PM's office, it came from the British. That they want America to enact this TPM, but we are not TPP, but we are not Singapore, and we are not repressive, in the case of Singapore and Malaysia. We are not that. This is the United States of America. God bless, God protect this country. And he has been. It's not so much Homeland Security. It's been the creator. It's been protecting this country. And that TPP is disgusting, because if it were George Bush, a lot of Republicans would support the TPP, giving him unilateral authority. But because it's Barack Obama, that's another paradigm. They don't want to give him that kind of unilateral authority to a man of Afro descent. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of idiosyncrasies involved in it, but it has a repressive tone to it too. And I'm an example of the repressive tone. Having been kicked out of Singapore, alleged terrorism and extremism, I've got nothing to do with it. Yet people that's in Jamaat, Tablighi Jamaat, and others are allowed to travel to and fro unfettered to and fro. People with real terrorism links, allowed to travel, unfettered. Man just passed by in a federal type car, but he was Chinese in that Ford Taurus. It just passed by me, silver Ford Taurus. Because I think about Chinese, I think about Singapore. I'm very jaded now about what happened with me in Singapore. And Singapore has been aggressively pushing white American officials, some of them with Singaporean pussy, has been noted by the admirals who were caught money laundering, prostituting, and stuff in Singapore. Do stuff with that to get them to come out and jump on me so that I don't gain any financial powers to prove my innocence.